Welcome back to Indian Trace. I'm actually really glad this video didn't work out earlier. I tried to make it. Of course, messed up. I had some ideas and they were scattered and it didn't work out the way I wanted it to, but now I have things laid out the way I believe I need to. Thank you for the couple of inquiries. The inquiry that this video is inspired by. Now take a close look at one thing. I know you haven't seen the tips yet. Look at the bases. See, the bases are really important for this type of point. And the question was, tell me again what makes the difference between a Guilford Yuma and a Guilford round and a Guilford straight base, or Guilford altogether. There's also Guilford stems, so at least according to Overstreet, who's fairly accurate. And I say fairly, I don't say fairly from being some professional or being somebody who really knows a whole lot about it, because I haven't collected for that long. This big point, I'm having trouble getting in there. Move it up, see if I can get into my perspective here. We have a definite ring of great points. Guilfords. Now look at the bases. They're all Guilford Yumas, which are actually, by most archaeological standards, the oldest form of the Guilford point. And so from the opener here, which is a fairly recent find this spring, from the archaic, just an absolutely brilliant point. That's a Guilford Yuma. I'm going to show you some Guilford Yumas, so stay tuned here. There's a couple awesome things I want to show you all together, but there's some incredible Guilford Yumas here. They are the only ones I have in my collection. Now, I've said that before, and I got a comment that said, what do you mean the only one? Those are fantastic. That's a lot. Well, in my collection I have, in my display quality pieces, I have about, now let's look at these. Actually, let me not get ahead of myself. There's a few points here, but in my display quality pieces, I have 850 pieces. Points, spear points, scrapers, good stuff. I'm getting distracted. Take a look at this stuff. We have another couple groups that we have to discuss today and settle. Unbelievable. Unbelievable right here. There's a story behind every one of these pieces. We got to discuss it. That's a Guilford Yuma. Unbelievable. And here's a couple Guilford Yumas, and we all have stories. There's a couple stories behind these, and points without stories, they're good for nothing. Good for nothing. If you don't have a good story about the points that you're finding and things like that, to me, it ain't worth much anything if you don't have a story with it. Look at those pieces, will you? Craziness. But there is a story behind those to put them into context, as you can see, the difference in materials. But now when we drop into my local area and looking at these, my local area, we're looking at one central, solid staple for stone material that they use to make these Guilford Yumas. Now, to me, it's amazing because looking at these bases as we begin as I get to answer and show for sure. So if you're out there collecting whatever, for sure, if you find a point that's a Guilford and you happen to be in South Carolina, North Carolina, that sort of thing, Central North Carolina, you'll know it's a Guilford Yuma for sure. I've probably done a couple videos hosting Guilford Yumas. Here, look at this long piece I found last year at Mecca. Big piece. Could possibly very well be the oldest piece that I have here. Sometimes you just sort of feel it in your belly. Sometimes you can tell by the material. It's not rhyolite. Not rhyolite at all. But it falls under the context of very early, just like the Guilford Yumas. I mean, we're talking, you could swing a bat and pretty well hit about 6,000 BC. So we're talking about 8,000 years old, and maybe younger. Why not save a point form that worked real good for you? I doubt all the point styles transitioned out completely. But looking at these points, actually I want to go this way, counterclockwise today. Here's a point from the archaic. Hope the focus is coming in. Have some discussions and make sure that we take a good look at the bases. As we can see, indeed, they're uniquely different points produced by different personalities, even our opening point here. But there's a very big commonality about all these bases. Definitely unique people. Different people made them. North American Indians, of course, were vast. They could be separated by hundreds and hundreds of years for these same point styles. That is the Guilford Yuma. Now look at these. What great lighting we have here in the evening. Rhyolite. I'm going to show you something in a second, especially here. This is rhyolite. The patina has set in. And if you look, it's concave. On the back of these two, they're concave. Every Guilford Yuma is concave. See, that's the real difference. That's the answer to your question. This could be almost a straight base, but you can see it's going in a little bit, and the Guilford rounds are completely filled and round on the backside. You see how all these are concave, and then there's another smoking piece here, concave, where they're going to get to. Now, this is a good illustration of it. Look at this piece of rhyolite. It's a great Guilford Yuma. Now look at this piece of rhyolite. This point was made by Master Rob. It was made from a piece of rhyolite that had patinaed like this one. And it was a raw piece of stone, and I sent it to him. This is the original. Now look at this Guilford Yuma right here, right behind me. That's patinaed. Beautiful green patina. This in my hand, I just want you to know for sure. You gotta believe it. Patina's the same color as this, and the same color as this, and this, and this. That is the original flint color for rhyolite. I sent him a raw piece of rhyolite from a field, and he went ahead and left some of the cortex on it. I like that. And he napped this point out of it. What a beautiful flint. Unbelievable now when you look at these points. This point even. Rhyolite. This is all rhyolite material. This flint was awesome. And it patinas and produces a beautiful color. I mean, look at this. Crazy. Just a really great contrast to show you how incredible you can look at a piece of flint like this and know it came from, it originally was like this. Originally like this, of course. And then it patinas like this over ages and ages of sleeping in the soil. So as we go around looking at these Guilford Yumas, this piece is made out of a flake. A lot of you guys who nap can see that. One flake broke off for them, and they worked the edges down real quick. Put the Yuma on there, and it's a lot of these are discolored. Look at this piece. A lot of them are discolored on the base where it was hafted in. It's a brownish. Don't know if you can see it. See it on both of those points. It's very brownish down there. Same as this. Very brownish. So anyway, Guilford Yumas. Great balance on that point. Fairly new one here. I just found it this maybe a couple weeks ago. Made well, and you can see, I can tell by looking at it that this break is not new at all. It takes a long time for it to patina. If this break was new, and I've seen them, I've had pieces that are broken, it would be dark green like this. I know for sure because I've seen these broken, and you see that dark green awesome looking flint in there, and you know that this is the patina. So that's a really great educational point just to make. Look at this. Very rare. Don't always come in. Guilford Yuma quartz. Now, let me make a political interest comment. Unbelievable things going on. I say that all the time. It's true. Tough time going on. I guess it's a fortunate day. I put a political interest link. You got to hear it. It's just the best explanation of what all has been happening between the United States and North Korea, China, specifically, and some other nations that supported us. Look at this Guilford Yuma. It's important to know. I'm going to talk, it's like hugely important to know. But you would never know. You'd never know the right context or the right truth if you listen to ABC, CBS, NBC, CNN, C-SPAN, or any of them. God knows what the world's the matter with them. Listen, you should know the truth by now, but the truth is they told you a whole bunch of wonderful things about Hillary Clinton. Wonderful things, positive things. They were sure of everything, although they knew they were lying. And their lies got turned over in this election because there was a mass of people who decided they're not going to believe that hype anymore. They're not going to believe the lies, and they went out and voted for a patriot. Granted, now you probably are already tainted with tons of lies about the underperformance or the even criminal activity of our president. Although, if you listen to his weekly addresses and you listen to lots of different news reports that explain all the things he's been doing in the last 70, 80 days, couple mistakes for sure. And I put the links up. Nice point, huh? Guilford, Yuma. But all in all, there's incredible things happening that are positive. I mean, you have to shake your head. Never in the history of the United States have we seen the incredible things that are happening right now in relationship. Solid changes to de-escalate things in the Middle East with Russia. De-escalation, yes. With Hillary and the Clintons, I'm going to tell you, you might not remember it, and I've got to say this, I've got to share it. Look at these bases, Guilford, Yuma. We're going to move on to the other stuff here, and I'm going to talk about it if I can get this focused. Nice point. People don't know, and I told my son tonight, that right after Trump won in a landslide, right afterwards, during that time, Obama, which is no different than the Clinton administration, started to move troops, started to command our troops to go in a mass around the borders of Russia to try to back up their lie that Russia convinced you and me to vote for Trump. And how stupid is that? If anything, they were sore because the corruption was revealed, because the corruption, the pants were pulled off of them about how much corruption there was in the Democratic Party, which I'm not happy for. It's unfortunate. But I'm going to tell you what, you want them to open their mouth about Russia. They were pushing aggression with Russia before Trump was inaugurated for a reason, on the borders of Russia completely for a reason. Now let's look at this. Here's another point that Master Rob made. It is a Guilford Yuma. He knows I love him, and we're going to get to that again in a second. I sent him a piece of quartz from one of my sites. This piece of quartz came from Riverdale, and he napped it out. So this is an ancient rock, a stone from a site that they had probably worked a little bit here or there, but it came from that site. And he napped out a pretty awesome looking Guilford Yuma. That's nice, isn't it? Unbelievable. So, I know I was getting ranting and raving, but it's just so important what's going on. I'm going to put a political interest link to give you an idea of what has transpired in the last 24 hours with North Korea, because he's an immature, spoiled leader. They're people, we think as Americans we must have lost our memory or something, that true subjugation, true persecution doesn't happen. It does. It does, everybody. If we all do our homework together and you decide you want to be free, you want to be a patriot, it's possible. You can find out the truth. And I think what has hurt the news media most is that most people understand that they have been diabolically, purposely lying, and didn't stop with the election of Trump at all. Haven't stopped. But a lot of people don't realize either that you and me, and I'm actually talking to a lot of people who agree, we knew in Trump we were electing someone who was not perfect. But in comparison to Hillary Clinton, you want to talk about night and day, the difference between good and evil. And that's as simple as that. Some people say, oh my gosh, you got to be great. No, it's true. Just follow the breadcrumbs. Follow the money. Find out who's funded her. Nations that openly hate our guts, that openly call for the complete annihilation and destruction of Jerusalem. On and on and on, who treat women in the most disgusting, despicable ways. Look at this point. This point was given to me by a great guy, Christian. I really appreciate it. I never really was able to thank. Look at the difference in the patinas. He believes it's from this region that I'm from. Could very well be, being the patinaed rhyolite, but just an incredible piece. Incredible piece right here. That's a Guilford Yuma. All right, as we finish up, I've been ranting and raving, but I'm going to put up a link that absolutely will help you understand what has happened with North Korea and where we are at right now. It's so important. If you tune in to ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, any of those, they're going to try to tell you, but they're going to tell you the way they want to, because they want to turn you to support things that you might not really want to support. Like, no nation, like no constitutional protection, like no Bill of Rights, like globalism. Can't have it. At least I can't have it. And sometimes I'll get on here and I'll just share my heart about it. So as the sun goes down today, look at these two pieces. Guilford Yumas we're covering. These, of course, because I have a modern coin there, are modern pieces. Again, Master Rob made these pieces. And he knows I love Guilfords, and he knows I love Guilford Yumas. It's an unbelievable point. Couldn't even imagine finding a point like this. I mean, craziness, right? We've seen them before, but they fit today because I'm talking about Guilford Yumas. So you're talking about a piece like this, done with honor and a modern flair, with perfection. I think any Indian would be proud. Then go into ancient stone, napping some of the ancient stone and coming out with a really great point. A Guilford Yuma again, especially in courts. Just beautiful stuff. Then go into the ancient stone and showing what rhyolite truly looks like when it's brand new, as opposed to with the patina. All Guilford Yumas though. And another awesome piece here as the time ticks on by. Again, I cannot stress how important it is for you to press yourself to research. None of us, and even the many modern, I should say, alternative news links that I cover, there's lots of mistakes. They admit, they're the first in humility to admit they don't get everything right and they don't all agree, that's for sure. See, that's the point. They're not pushing one story, one line of propaganda. You go to the modern news media and they're going to be tweeting and shooting their mouth off about the exact same perspective, even using the same words. Who's giving them those talking points for 5, 6, 7 networks to share the exact same story? That happened. They went for it. They put their best foot in for Hillary. And it was a disaster because the gig is up. It's over. I believe, and I've always strived to believe through the first horrible election of President Obama. And listen, I'm not prejudiced. Believe it or not, I look like the man. But at the same time, I was so brokenhearted over the first election of him. Oh yeah, he's eloquent. He talks so wonderful. But I knew what his plans were and I knew what his background was. And you should have too. You did, many of you. So keep moving forward and striving for freedom. But now there's so much available resource to know what's happening in the world and our nation right now. So much availability to support who we need to. Great look at these pieces and sort of a talk to share it all. Some of Rob's great work. And the masters, ancient masters, jumping back in time here, about 6,000 years, and that'll do it conservatively for sure. This point was found right across the street from me. This point was found the other day. This is the point that was found the other day at Saponi. Turned out to be a fantastic piece. So not really wanting this to go much more. And look at the back. See the discoloration where they hafted it in? I don't know if the sinew, which they made one way or another, I guarantee they made some kind of glue to do it, does that to points. An ending from Saponi, one of my very favorite Guilford Yumas, is this one. I guess all I can do is employ you to take a lot of these things to heart that I share about politics. If you're not interested in politics, I don't know why you're interested in artifacts, that's for sure. Because it's all about politics. It's all about how we need to coexist, live together, but yet support freedom. Support the Bill of Rights and the Constitution, which still is the best, not perfect, but the best form of government in the world. And support other people. From Indian Trace to you, really appreciate you tuning in. And that right there, that's Indian Trace. Have a great night out there.